what would be your conclusion of where we are and where you think the immediate future is going to be for people who are listening and wondering, should I buy, should I sell?
Well, I think right now at the moment for buyers, I think at last there's real value. I mean, we are seeing some fantastic houses and flats go for really quite modest sums by comparison to what they have been going for. So I would say to you, get looking and look hard and make an offer. You wouldn't necessarily choose to be on the market right now unless you had to. And most of the reasons of my clients are very natural. You know, it's passage of time, natural lifestyle of the house or the flat, children leaving home, them wanting to liquidate some funds so that children can get on the ladder. But I genuinely think there is value in the market at the moment. I mean, I was looking at some houses the other day, and I mean, it's something unbelievable. Like between 3 million and 5 million in Chelsea, there are 81 houses for sale. I mean, you know, that's a lot. I mean, out of choice, you know, you can really make a decision when you have that kind of choice. So I would say it's a really good time to look.
If you're a buyer, you've got to buy the best thing that your money can buy, can let you buy, and so you need to buy the best quality thing, and for that, and this is where it gets difficult. For that, you may still be paying on a pounds per square foot basis the same as you would have done at whatever peak in the market you might care to mention. And there have been a couple of deals done very, very recently where people have paid £4,000 a square foot for a house that was modernised 15 years ago. Yeah. But it just happens to be in position A. I mean, absolute triple A. Or it's like anything, buy the best you can afford. If it's a one-bedroom flat, buy the best type of one-bedroom flat. You know, don't say, oh, well, hang on, for that I can buy a two-bedroom flat. Yeah, but the two-bedroom flat's in the next street, which is nothing like as good, and so on and so forth.
And the sellers know that, because, you know, when you've got something that doesn't come up very often, then in whatever market you're selling it, you're going to want to get your price, and there'll be someone who's willing to pay it, especially in a place like London.
But generally for sellers, you have to understand that the buyer is looking for value. So that's the other side of the coin. So generally for sellers, you have to be flexible.
Leave something on the table for them.
You have to leave something on the table. If you don't, the slightest little thing that goes wrong in the transaction, that's the fall-through rate. The fall-through rate of transactions, I think, is about, well, it's not exactly 50%, but it's not far off. That's colossal. I mean, if you get the Lonrez stats every week, you can see the number of properties that have actually exchanged contracts, and then you can see the number of properties which have actually fallen through. Actually, it's very often nearly the same number. 25 exchanges and 19 fall through, so it's a lot more than 50%.
Well, I guess the good news in that scenario is there's activity.
Yeah, sure.
There's activity, which is more than we could have said, 6, 7, 8 months ago.
No. There is definitely activity. There is definitely activity, but it's at the end of the day, it's always been about price, hasn't it? So regardless of non-doms, less buyers being around, if the price is right, from somewhere a buyer will appear. Don't ask me how, where, but a buyer will appear. If the price is wrong, then your house is just going to sit there.
I think for sellers, it's really tough, because I think where expectation is and where the prices actually end up landing is quite often a big gulf. And I think, agents and vendors alike, we're still trying to establish price points in some of these streets. But more and more is beginning to transact. So there is a sense of common ground now. Personally, I think we're probably bumping along the bottom of all the prices, having had the prices come down over the last 3 or 4 years. But, lots of people are waiting to see what Rachel Reeves will say in the autumn statement. I mean, that may attack property ownership again in some way, or the taxes around it. Yeah. So I know from a couple of my buyers, they've said, look, we will buy, but we want to see what she says in the autumn. And the thing is about my market is it needs certainty. So actually the Labour Party, having said what they did recently, created certainty. But we now have got more uncertainty because, the government needs lots more money. Yeah. And so will property be attacked again. And I just think there's plenty of money in London. London is not running out of money. There's lots of very, very successful people here who work hard and want to buy. They just don't want to overpay. So it's tough for sellers, and I think you just have to hold your nerve.